Hey, Terrainiacs, Mel here with another quick tip for you. Are you looking for problem-free dry brushing? Fed up of streaks and splodges? I've got some tips for you. Come on down. Good dry brushing starts with good brushes. Now, starting with the largest, with the long synthetic paintbrushes, avoid those at all costs. They'll be problematic. Same with brand new house brushes. These are problematic as well. But old worn ones, where the fibres are more rounded and it's not as harsh, these work really well for large areas. Moving down, we move into the hog's hair brushes. These are brilliant for dry brushing because they soak the moisture into the bristles and just leave the paint on the bristles to lay down, and you get far less streaks. Same with the craft brushes, hog's hair once again. Moving down even further, we've got kiddies paint brushes from kiddies paint sets. Really good, really fine fibres and allow for a really fine dry brushing. And then for the smaller details, I use acrylic nail art brushes. Really cheap, disposable, so I don't have to worry about the tips and get really fine results. When it comes to the type of paints you use, the less water in them, the better the dry brush. So the best are acrylics, but that normally means you have to mix up your own colours. Next off is colour matched house paints, really thick, not much water in them, go down and you can colour match them. And then finally, if you really have to, there are model paints, but only really use these for highlights with your smaller brushes. And if your paint is too watery, don't worry, lay it out onto a bit of cardboard, let the cardboard soak the excessive moisture out, leaving the pigment on the top for your dry brushing. Now that's the tools and materials sorted, let's look at some techniques. Come on. First off, brushing technique. When you're dry brushing, always brush on the piece and then take it off the piece. Come back and put it on the piece and take it off the piece. Don't change on the actual terrain because the motion of actually changing pushes the bristles in and you'll create a splodge line. It's the same on buildings. When you're dry brushing buildings, as you come across, take it off the side. Do not drag it round the corner or the ridge line will scrape the paint off the brush and leaving a splodge line there. Right, let's actually do some dry brushing. So we start with a dry brush and the brush never gets wet through the entire process. If it needs to be cleaned and you need to do more dry brushing, swap to a different brush. Start off with some house paint and we're going to use the cardboard to suck the moisture out of the paint. Once we've got a reasonable coating, our first strokes are always off the terrain. Keep stroking until you stop getting streaks. When it comes to the terrain itself, I'm using a bit of sandpaper for the texture. Just remember to go in lightly because your brush is heavier at the start. And then build it up over time as the pigment comes off the brush. Until near the end, you can go on with quite a bit of force, but don't over force it in case there's moisture between the bristles and you squeeze that out, creating streaks or splodges. And there you go, folks. Streak and splodge free dry brushing, even on the most finest of textures. So those are my tips for problem-free dry brushing, but I'm curious about yours. Let me know your dry brushing tips down below in the comments. And in the meantime, remember to subscribe to the channel because I'll be back next Thursday with another quick tip. I'll see you then, folks. All the best. Ta-ra.